Welcome to Conversations. I'm Suresh Kochattar. It's been a few days since the so-called cockroach Jantar Party arrived at an understanding with the government that they will call off the stir on the face of it for having Dharmendra Pradhan get his resignation and of course a few more demands. Dharmendra Pradhan resigned and of course the parliament went back to normal. But there are other issues prevailing. The so-called leaders of the cockroach Jantar Party wanted cases to be withdrawn against everybody. That is, the FIRs that were filed against everybody should be withdrawn, immaterial, whether they're criminals or they're normal people. Well, that was sorted out by the Supreme Court, which clearly told that cases against criminals will continue. But the other cases against students, which did not involve violence, can be withdrawn. But there is a catch. Even those cases cannot be withdrawn if somebody else challenges the withdrawal of those FIRs. And that's going to be interesting because now we have the retired police officials in Delhi holding a press conference today where they clearly enumerated to the illiterate person called Rahul Gandhi that the Home Minister of India does not give orders for lathi charge or tear gas or for firing. That is a level of incompetence of Mr. Rahul Gandhi. He does not even know the basics and he claims to be the leader of opposition. Anyway, we can just forget about him because he keeps making all these idiotic statements. But more importantly, one should understand why these FIRs cannot be withdrawn because there is a legal process involved. The government first notifies a court and the court allows the evidence-based thing saying there's absolutely no evidence, we can withdraw this, and they allow it. But if somebody challenges it, then it goes back to square one. And I want every one of these FIRs to be challenged. Not just that, every person who assembled at Jantar Mantar on that day to the march to the parliament day is an accused because they broke several laws. One was a law against assembling there in the first place because there was a restriction law, the old 144, and now the new BNSS is there. Second, they tried to push the barricade, which was the Lakshman Rekha there, and tried to march towards parliament, which again was illegal because there's no permission for it. So two FIRs can be filed against every person who was there and they should be fired. They should be filed based on the details of the mobile phone, triangulation data that the police has with them, on the facial recognition system. Each and every person, including those jokers sitting on top of the stage, should be charged. They should be charged. No FIR should be withdrawn. This is the demand I've been making from day one when I tweeted what now many claims to be a controversial tweet. No, I was telling Mr. Narendra Modi that I was extremely disappointed with him because when I heard the news that the government was going to withdraw all the FIRs. Sorry, Modi ji, we respect you a lot. You are a father figure for us. But please don't bend before these criminals. At least a part of it, the Supreme Court has saved you and your government from doing it, saying that action against the criminals can proceed. But each of these fellows who threw stones at the police, who kind of beat up the police and even resulted in injuries to them, each one of them should be picked up and arrested. And that should happen starting tomorrow. Investigation can start. And of course, I'm supporting the retired police officials who held that press conference. Hats off to them, to the families who came and spoke at the press conferences in different parts of Delhi. And also they wanted to go to Jantar Mantar to protest, but being retired officials too, they listened to the government which said, please don't go there. They didn't go. They're not like that so-called Gen Z that went there, abused Prime Minister Modi's mother, abused others, taunted the police, and now are crying. They deserve no mercy. Each one of them, their careers should be destroyed because they don't deserve to be having a job in the first place. This is my angst. I'm extremely angry because the so-called Gen Z, even we have gone through it. The Navnirman movement, I was a part of it in Hyderabad. Had lathi charge, been near the Rajbhavan, had the complete lathi charge. I mean, it was like all over the body. That was the kind of thing that we faced. But we never threw a stone at the police. We never abused the police. Okay, we knew that we were making a mistake by being there when there was a section 144 those days. But ladies and gentlemen, I fault the parents for it. The parents of these children who went there without realizing that they were destroying their entire career just for the sake of the 3-4 jokers sitting on the stage. Those guys will not have any problem. They will continue with their life. One has already gone back to the US. The others will continue to party in 5-star hotels. The politicians will have their own thing. Arvind Kejriwal or be it, Atishi Marlena, or for that matter, Dimple Yadav or anybody for that matter. They will all escape. They will have nothing to lose in this. The students will lose and they lost it. Because once your name is in the police record, you're finished. And I've been saying this from day one. I've been saying it in Telugu news channels, but now I'm saying it in English. And many have already said this. I'm glad that the retired police officials have come together. They should get some very strong legal counsels with them. I know many people will volunteer. There are people like Ishkaran Bhandari and also Jaipur Dialogues who have gone on record saying that they will not allow a single FIR to be withdrawn. In fact, they will ask for more FIRs to be filed based on the violence that we saw there. Attempt to murder charges should be slapped against all those who were present that side and who indulge in violence. And ladies and gentlemen, I again come back to the parents part of it. What kind of discipline did you teach your children? I can understand them going there, shouting a few slogans and sitting there on a dharna or something like that. But do you teach them? Did you teach them to abuse the mother of Prime Minister Modi? How would you like if somebody else abused you, or rather these children who have come there, or their mother or parents? This is called culture. This is how you are brought up in life. And if parents have failed with the kind of abusive language that was used against Prime Minister Modi and others, this is pathetic. You guys don't deserve to be parents. And that is what it is. You have failed in your duty. This is, my blood was boiling when I was looking at it. That is why I put out that tweet there telling Narendra Modi ji that I was extremely disappointed with him. Because he was a mentor. He is still a mentor, a father figure. But then that day, when we saw JP Nadda ji and Dr. Jitendra Singh backtracking and kind of literally saying yes to all the demands of these jokers, I felt very angry. And I'm thankful that the next day the Supreme Court corrected it. Now comes the time for the government to show the guts. Go after each and everyone. No withdrawal of cases, even though the Supreme Court may have said it. Because if they have committed an act of crime, the Supreme Court has not shielded them. And those FIRs were not just filed for the heck of it. It was 12 or 13 FIRs in Delhi. The Lieutenant Governor has no power to withdraw it. And we will ensure that each of the cases is taken to the logical end. And all those 5,000 or 6,000, including those 3,000 criminals who were there that day, will go to jail. This is a promise, and we will ensure it happens, no matter what it takes. We have a huge team that is out there in Delhi and other places who will identify each of those people and bring them to justice. You have no right to break the law. The parliament was already attacked once, and we know what happened. And if you wanted to attack the parliament again and destroy it, sorry, you can try that in any other country. Many were shouting Nepal. Please go to Nepal and try it once more. You'll know what happened. You know what happened in Sri Lanka? All those guys who took part in the riots, they are in jail now. Bangladesh, the government doesn't even care a damn for the so-called students who took part in the movement there. You had a political motive. I appreciate, yes, NEET exam papers leaked. There should have been action. Action has been taken. But then, what do? You come there and protest again. You come and demand the resignation of Dharmendra Pradhan. Fine, great. But then tomorrow, what happens? Why tomorrow? We had the case in Karnataka where Madhu Bangarappa, the education minister, refused to resign because D.K. Kumar says, no, he is not responsible, he is only a minister. The district collectors are responsible, or the deputy commissioners are responsible. Dharmendra Pradhan could have said the same thing. Why are these so-called CJP leaders not going to Bengaluru and demanding or telling Rahul Gandhi to make Madhu Bangarappa resign? What about the case in Punjab where exam papers leaked? 4 of them. And during the UP era, 6 papers leaked. 6 central government exam papers leaked. And who was the education minister? A gentleman called Kapil Sibal. And today, or rather we saw a few days ago, him donating 1 crore to the CJP folks for legal assistance. It's so obvious that who is behind all this. We need to catch each of those foreigners who funded this agitation. We need to look at the guys who came, the 37 odd guys who came from Dubai, who were sponsored by a guy called Mohammed Shaji from Kerala, who's owner of that company in Dubai. We need to lock him up next time he returns to India, cancel his passport. And also all those 37 guys who came along with him. They didn't come there to enjoy. They came there to create havoc. And how many of Mohammed Shajis were there sponsoring different people? Who were the guys ordering food from Qatar and from Bangladesh? We need to know that. Zomato and Swiggy need to share the details. If there are Indians who did it, well, cancel their passports. It's time the Ministry of Information Broadcasting also shows its guts. Television channels cannot show one-sided stories, the print and the quint and the scroll and others. They need to also come under the discipline. Why were police people being beaten up not shown? Why was only the other narrative considered that students got assaulted? They broke the law. That is why they were hit. Simple as that. If they had stayed within the Lakshman Rekha, it was okay. But even there, they were abusing the cops. They were taunting them. And of course, finally, they broke the barricade. They threw stones, they threw tiles and whatever they could lay their hands on. Peddling of lies by the CJP should stop. And it should be stopped legally. And also, of course, we see a wonderful thing where those who abused Modi ji, those who abused the country, those who abused our army, those who abused our police are getting beaten up on the streets. I'm not for violence. I'm not for mob violence. I'm not for mob vigilante justice. But what do you do to such people who can claim credit from the law, can say that law is not for me? Sorry. you have to face the law and you have to face the mob. That is the rule of it. Simple as that. If you thought twice before doing all this nonsense, you won't have to face all this. It was fashionable to go there, take a selfie, put a video and post it all over the place and then claim, oh, my privacy is gone. Where the hell were you when you put up those videos, when you put up those pictures, when you went to Indira Park in Hyderabad and held up the banners and photographs? Your picture is there with the Intelligence Bureau. Remember that. Your picture is with the state intelligence. They all have it. And all those who go abuse Prime Minister Modi on the social media, each of your names is there. You may have deleted your video, but the digital footprints are still there. And once you're there, that's it. Your life is finished, because they will ensure that there's a black mark against you when you go for a job, government or private, when you apply for a passport, when you apply for a visa, you are done. That is the main thing you need to understand. I'm so happy that the Supreme Court has backed the police officers who are injured, the police officials who are injured. I think every police officer, every police constable who was injured should file an attempt to murder case against the organizers of that Mela that was held in Jantar Mantar, that mayhem which was created by those. And the organizers should be charged for it. Forget the people on the ground, they should also be. But those organizers are they cannot claim that I didn't know who came. Then why did you hold it in the first place? You objected to Aadhaar cards being checked. Now face the music. Saurav Das and Abhijit Dipke and Ranka and others. Let us see what happens. For one, we will not let the pressure go. We will go after each one of them and we will bring them to justice so that they will think twice picking up a stone next time to throw it at a police official who was holding back. Unfortunately, they should have been given all the rights to go out and hit these guys. They were forced to in the end. That is what gets my goat. But it doesn't matter. At least now the justice is being served and it should go to the logical end. Thank you for watching. Jai Hind.